ever have a moment in your life that you can pinpoint as the cause of something life-changing? A moment that sets your life on a specific path that unlocks something huge within yourself? Maybe that's a bit dramatic, but hey, it caught your attention, didn't it? Today, I'm going to be talking about something incredibly special to me. That was that moment for me that kind of set me on a different path in life, as dramatic as that sounds. A project that I've been working on for over 10 years. Yes, over 10 years. That's a long time. And finally, after years of secrecy, I'm revealing it to you all in this video. And oh my god, it feels really weird to be recording this. And it feels weird finally talking about this publicly after keeping it a secret for so long. Hey everybody, I'm the Otaku Artist, and I'm excited and nervous to announce something huge. I have been working on a passion project that has been ongoing for many years. This project genuinely means the world to me, and I'm incredibly excited to share it with you all. This project really ties into who I am, and what I mean by that is my passion for art. Creativity, the human expression of art, is so important to me, and making this project kind of feels like an extension of myself. I've poured so much time and energy into this project, and it's grown and changed over time as I've grown as a person. And it's finally at a stage that I feel is ready to be shown to everyone. Without further ado, I am excited to announce that I am creating a webcomic. Introducing Kashiro's Curse. In this video, I'm going to give a brief synopsis on the plot, introduce our main protagonist, talk about the world it's set in, and go into some detail on the 10+ year development cycle for this story. Keep in mind that some things I share in this video may be subject to change, as this project is still in development. Webcomics take a long time to make, so character designs and ideas may change as well. In the background, I'll have some art time lapses of some concept art, as well as art of the main two characters. So, grab a snack, get cozy, and listen to me ramble about my precious blorbos. Ooh, I'm excited! Let's go! First, let's start with a brief synopsis of the plot. Kashiro's Curse is a fantasy adventure comic. Our story begins with a young man named Kashiro, who's been looking for his father ever since he was taken from him as a small boy by mysterious masked men in cloaks. After years of looking for him with no luck, Kashiro gets into a bit of trouble and wakes up in the middle of nowhere with a strange tattoo now on his right hand. He's completely unaware of what the mark is or how he even got it. He soon discovers that people are afraid of the mark, some even calling him a devil, and he has to deal with all of this while being chased by strange masked men that look familiar. After being captured by these men, he discovers he's not the only one being hunted by these strange cloaked figures. He meets a girl named Mari. Mari is a shy and scared amnesiac who has strange hair that looks like the sky. The two adventure together, meeting other characters along the way while working together to solve several mysteries. What is the tattoo on Kashiro's right hand, and why are people so afraid of it? Who is Mari, and how is she connected to all of this? And who are these mysterious masked men, and what's their plan? I won't say any more about the plot for now, but if you love magical worlds with a good mystery, you're in for a treat. This is the type of story where you'll have fun speculating and theorizing on what's going to happen next. When I created this story, originally I didn't have a theme or message in mind, but as I worked on it, it kinda revealed itself to me. What this story is trying to say is incredibly important to me, and I hope it'll resonate with you too. Now, let's move on to talking about our main protagonists. There's a lot more characters than these two, of course, but I'd rather let those characters speak for themselves as they're revealed throughout the comic. I'll also be focusing more on these characters' personalities, as I'd rather not spoil anything plot-wise about these characters, including character arcs and such. First, we've got our main boy, Kashiro. Do you like grumpy emo boys with a tragic backstory? Well, give it up for Kashiro. Kashiro is a bit of an asshole. He's witty and sarcastic, normally being pretty quiet, unless he doesn't like you and wants to hit you with a rude comment. For fun. He has a lot of fun messing with people by throwing quips at them and getting under their skin. The kind of character who's fun to watch poke fun at others, but you'd probably get real tired of him quickly if he was being a dick to you. As you can tell, he doesn't like people very much. He's withdrawn from people and doesn't trust anyone, preferring to stay alone. He comes off as extremely selfish, but he has his reasons. Maybe there's a heart of gold somewhere under there? Who can say? In the world this story takes place in, there are different races and types of magic users. Kashiro appears to be a regular partial blood, which means he's able to use magic, but requires an item to harness that power. He's a jack of all trades and prefers a book as his magical item. It comes in handy since he can read through the book if he forgets a spell. Although, that may not be everything about him. He may be hiding a secret about himself under that big cloak of his. And it's not impossible for that info to slip. And wouldn't it be a shame if someone found out about this huge secret of his that causes him trust issues and self-hatred? I won't spoil what exactly his deal is, but it won't be too long before this info is revealed in the story. I'm very much looking forward to you all learning about this aspect of this grumpy boy. What I will say is that this aspect of his character is something I had planned out in the very first draft of the story, but shortly after, scrapped it, because I thought people would find it stupid, and at the time, it didn't really seem to have a place within the story, just kind of something thrown in at the time. Well, recently, I revisited that idea and found out it actually really helps to strengthen the theme of this story, the plot and world building, and Kashiro's character as a whole. Huh. I guess it wasn't stupid after all. So, this is one of the very few aspects of the first old draft from over 10 years ago that is still in the story, although reworked quite a bit. That idea really was thrown in and didn't work in the very first draft of the story, but as the story's changed now in its current form, that idea actually works. I'm pretty happy that I revived this idea. I'm quite pleased with its return to the story. And it also might be because it's something I really like in characters. I won't say any more on that for now. So, let's move on to something more about Kashiro. I mentioned this before, but Kashiro's main goal is finding his father. He's been looking for him for years, ever since he was a child. And even though it seems pretty bleak that he's still alive, he pushes that thought from his mind. He must find his father. It's the only thing keeping him going. The worst part is that he doesn't know where he could be. The only thing he has to go off of is that strange masked men in cloaks took him. But why? What could they possibly want with him? This goal is so important to Kashiro, in fact, that he honestly could care less about this strange tattoo now mysteriously on his hand, or some random girl who can't remember anything, or the fact that people scream in fear at the sight of the mark. He doesn't want to be involved in any of that. All he wants is one thing: to find his dad. And he will. I mean, he has to, right? His dad is the only person he has left that understands him. his only family, and if he doesn't, he'll be truly all alone in this world. But no. He'll push that thought of his mind. He will find his father. He has to. So, let's take this grumpy asshole who hates people and pair him with the most anxious, scared, sweet cinnamon roll of a person. What could go wrong? Introducing Mari. Mari wakes up with no recollection of who or where she is. That confusion soon turns into fear when a group of strange men find her and capture her. Soon after, she meets with Kashiro and clings to him immediately. She ignores all the red flags and is just happy to finally find someone who doesn't want to hurt her. Everyone else up to this point was horrible to her, treating her like prey that needed to be caught. She's scared to leave his side as she doesn't know who else could be after her, or why. Kashiro really doesn't want some strange girl tagging along with him, but he's not completely heartless. She is in a horrible situation after all. Mari is very anxious and scared of everything. I mean, who wouldn't be? You're hit with the confusion and fear of not knowing who you are, where you are, and now people you've never seen before are chasing after you with the intent to kidnap you or worse. I'd be pretty scared too. When Mari isn't scared to death, she's very shy and sweet to everyone. Unfortunately, this is to the extreme, as she puts everyone above her and doesn't stand up for herself. She tends to overthink and is almost always anxious and nervous, but she really does mean well. I mean, just look at her, she's a sweet little bean. I love these two so much. These two have changed so much over the course of development on the series, and I'm very happy with how they turned out. I hope you end up loving them just as much as I do, because I just adore them. I mean, they're my kids, they're my Blorbos. These two have been with me since the beginning of the story in some way or another. They've been sitting in my brain, living up there for over 10 years. I'm very attached to them. Kashiro is one of my favorite character tropes. I love a grumpy asshole character who makes quips and is pretty funny. And I love the idea of pairing someone like that with someone who is the complete opposite. When I first created Kashiro all the way back in the first draft of the story over 10 years ago, he was not like this at all. He was a very boring protagonist, very nice to everyone with a sense of justice, always doing the right thing. And I found that boring. Come on, man. Another main character in a fantasy setting that has a heart of gold and has perfect morals. Lame. So I completely gave him a 180 personality change. Let me tell you, at that time I was sick of consuming media, a lot of anime, that every single main character was the token good guy, the guy who does everything right, blah blah blah. And honestly, I think the story is a lot better to have someone who is not like that. Now Mari though, Mari was actually a lot harder to create. It wasn't as simple as Kashiro of just completely doing the opposite personality. She's gone through so many changes that are so extreme and spoiler heavy that I actually can't really talk about her development without giving things away. One day, I'll be able to talk more about her development, but trust me when I say it was numerous drafts and years of rewrites to finally get her to a point that I'm very happy with. I adore her now, but man, she was a pain to figure out. For the longest time, I actually hated her. Yes, I actually hated her due to her place in the story and her personality, but finally I was able to turn her into a character that I love with all my heart. The worst part is when trying to develop her, she's the secondary main character. I think it goes without saying, and I don't count this as a spoiler, that she's important to the story. Whoa, a main character that's important to the story? So when I hated her in all these drafts, It wasn't as simple of, oh, if you just hate that character, just get her away from the story. You can't really do that. She's a main character. She needs to be there for plot relevancy. It's like if you tried to take Kashiro out of the story, then what would the story be called? Just Curse? Man, when I am able to finally tell you all the story of developing Mari, oh man, it's gonna be a long story. Besides Kashiro and Mari, there's a lot more characters that I hope you're excited to meet in this story, but you'll just have to wait till they show up in the comic. It'll be worth the wait, I promise. I love all the other characters too. I wish I could talk about them in this video, but I don't want to talk about them in videos or at length until they actually show up in the comic. Now, I've mentioned that this story takes place in a fantasy universe, but I didn't really go into detail. Now, it's not your generic medieval fantasy. It's more like Zelda meets Xenoblade meets Tales of Abyss. That sort of fantasy vibe. This story takes place on one large continent, separated into 4 regions. Each region is based on a season and ruled by a different god. You have a region in constant snow and blizzards, based on winter, a hot tropical region based on summer, a beautiful lush land filled with flowers based on spring, and a region filled with nature and littered with autumnal trees based on fall. Although the 4 regions share the same continent, they all have differing cultures, worldviews, traditions, creatures, and more. Throughout the world are people with varying degrees of magical abilities, as well as different races of humanoids. You might be wondering, how does magic work in this universe? To be able to use magic, you must be born with magic in your blood. The amount of magic inside of you is caused by a few things: genetics, where you were born in the world, and how much magical food the mother ate while the baby was forming, as there's fruits, vegetables, etc. that have innate magical properties. However, doing all 3 of these things does not ensure a magical child. For example, if a baby is born early, bad side effects can occur. The amount of magic you're born with determines what kind of magic you can do, how much your body can handle at a time, and how everyone in the world views you. Think of it as a spectrum. At one end is a person with 100% magical blood, and as you go to the other end, the amount of magic in the blood dwindles until there's none. If you're on this side of the spectrum, then you can use magic with ease, able to learn and perform difficult spells, and your body can handle doing magic for long stretches of time. Now, let's move to the middle of the spectrum. You can still learn and perform a lot of magic, but you'll need an item to harness your abilities. You're not able to use magic without help. There's various different ways of achieving this: books, crystals, gems, jewelry, etc. There's no one singular way magic is commonly used through items. The method differs per person, and some items perform better than others. Some items are made exclusively for specific types of magic. Finally, let's move to the very end of the spectrum, where people with no magic reside. These types of people are shunned by the large population of the world, as they cannot learn magic at all. In fact, some even have a bad reaction to magic, feeling physical pain if they try to perform it, or in some cases, even pain by just getting close to magic. However, this spectrum is not a complete representation of magic in this world. After all, magic is still a topic widely debated by scholars. Different theories are proven and disproven every day, with more theories popping up every hour. The limits and laws of magic are not fully understood, and people aren't even sure exactly what magic is, and why it seems to have the ability to both harm and help others. So, now you know just a tiny fraction of the characters, story, and world that's been living in my head for over 10 years. But 10 plus years is a long time, and over the years this world in my head has evolved and changed drastically, and wait, we're skipping a lot. How did it all start in the first place? Growing up, Studio Ghibli was a huge part of my life. The first movie I saw was Castle in the Sky, which I discovered when renting it at my local library. After falling in love with it, I continued to seek out more movies in that style, being too young to know what Studio Ghibli or anime even was at the time. I mean, sure, I watched like Pokemon, but I didn't really know what the difference between that was and regular cartoons. Fast forward to years later, when I was old enough to understand what anime and Ghibli was. I remember coming across a DVD of a Ghibli movie I hadn't seen yet. I looked at the cover and was intrigued, and since it was Ghibli, decided to pick it up. That movie was Howl's Moving Castle. I got home from the store and immediately I put on the movie. And as I watched, something started to change inside of me. I was hit with the most insane blast of both awe for storytelling and inspiration. I finished the movie and immediately I watched it a second time back to back. I didn't care it was late at night. I had to chase that feeling. And upon finishing my second viewing, it was clear to me that I had just discovered my favorite movie of all time. But that wasn't all. This movie unlocked something in me. Growing up, I was always an artist. I never put down a pencil as a child, and I knew I loved stories and characters, but wait, then it hit me. I didn't want to just see other people's stories and characters. I wanted to create one of my own. And I realized that I can create something like that. And this is where everything changed. An intense rush of inspiration and creativity hit me, and I got to work immediately. That same night, in MS Paint of all things, yes, MS Paint, I made the shittiest drawings of characters that suddenly spawned in my mind, and started typing up a draft of a story. Still in MS Paint, I still don't know why I didn't just use a Word doc. And guess what, guys? I still have those shitty drawings. Ta-da! Yeah, they're not very good. But it didn't matter if they were bad drawings made with a laptop touchpad. I was in love with the idea of creating a world, a story, and characters of my own. This was the start of the long development cycle of Kashiro's Curse. Over the years, this story, characters, and world went through various different drafts and different plans for the medium I would tell it in. The only things that stayed true throughout all the drafts was the genre of the story and a handful of characters. That all changed in extreme ways. From changing personalities, appearances, cutting characters, splitting characters into two. There has been way too many changes to go over in this video. And I know someone's gonna bring it up, so I want to mention this here. Even though Howl's Moving Castle inspired me to create a story, the only thing I took from that movie that you can see reflected in this project of mine is that it's a fantasy story. I don't really get why Howl's Moving Castle was the thing that, like, brain blasted me into this creative journey. I love the movie, not gonna lie, but there's not really anything about the stories or characters that has any similarities with this story. But yeah, I think that's kind of interesting that even when you least expect it, one thing that someone else made or a team of people made can be the thing that makes you be inspired to create something of your own. I have so many different digital and physical pieces of work that has gone into this long development in the form of digital Word docs, digital concept art, and a backpack filled with numerous different sketchbooks, filled with both handwritten drafts and concept art. Originally, this story started off as an animated movie, but the story started to grow larger and larger in scale, so I turned my sights to an animated series. To this day, I still see the story in this vision, but let's be honest here, one person cannot reasonably make a large-scale fantasy adventure animated series alone. So, I unfortunately had to shelve this idea. I love animation so much, I love animating, but I don't think I have the experience or time necessary to make that big of a project, and it honestly would kill me if I had to animate a whole thing alone, and I don't have the money to hire a team, so unfortunately, that dream has to be put to rest for now. I then tried it out as a book, which I scrapped a few chapters in. I learned very quickly that I'm a very visual person, and words alone cannot express what I picture in my head. I'm also not the best with words, not gonna lie. I remember working on that book version and being like, alright, so this character is standing in this specific way against the wall, and I couldn't figure out what words to describe the image in my mind. So yeah, that's not gonna work. Then, on a whim, I drew a prologue chapter in the form of a comic in a sketchbook. Then I once pondered the idea of it being a visual novel, and scrapped it. Since I didn't think that'd work. I thought about making it into a video game too, but I don't know how to code or model. I tried every medium. What do I do, man? What do I do? How do I create this story? How do I express it? Wait a second. And finally, I settled on the webcomic idea. Now, I've read countless webcomics and manga over the years, but settling on that idea of actually creating one myself is a more recent idea. I worked on this on and off for over 10 years, but what finally got my ass to sit down and take it seriously was one video. Over the years, there were several different inspirations, both for the story and my own art journey, that influenced me to work on it. But I have to thank one video in particular for making this project go from a dream where I would be like, someday it'll happen, someday I'll make that, and worked on it on and off, to now where I'm working so hard on it, very, very often, trying my hardest to make this a reality. There's a video on Shay Frillis Productions channel about the Ghibli movie Whisper of the Heart, a movie about a teenage girl writing a novel for the first time. And in the video, Shay Frillis says this.
Go ahead and create. Write your own story. Take those delightful character ideas you have in your head and share them with the rest of the world. Maybe this is the push you need to create your own stories and worlds and characters.
Thank you, Shay Frillis, and thank you to all my inspirations throughout the years. And recently, the Starfish Face with her amazing How to Webcomic book. Without all of them helping me on this journey to make this wouldn't be possible. And a big thank you to my group of friends who are helping beta read the comic for me. Now, I know that not everyone's in the webcomics, and I totally get that, and I know that not everyone will kind of understand why this project is such a big deal to me, or how much work it takes, but honestly, I'm okay with all of that. This is just a project that's really, really, really fucking important to me. Even if there's like 2 people reading it, even if I'm the only one reading it, it's important to me that I make it. Art is so important to me. It's a very, very important way of how I express myself. And this story kind of encapsulates all that. It's how I'm gonna express myself. It's also just, there's parts of me and things I want to say and offer to people reading it that I couldn't really put in words. I'm just so passionate about this, man. It's so important to me. To those who do give this project a try of mine when it comes out, thank you. I hope you enjoy it and can kind of see what I'm trying to say. And speaking of when it comes out, I know this whole video you've probably been thinking, but where is the comic? Where can I read it? Well, this video is the announcement that I'm making a webcomic, but the comic is still in development. I plan on releasing it sometime this year, but I don't have a date set in stone yet. I want to make sure it's ready before I start releasing it, and I don't want to rush, so please be patient. I'm currently balancing both a full-time job, working on this, and life in general, so it's a lot of work. It'll be worth the wait though, I promise. I hope you're all excited for when it releases. I'm very, very proud of this. It's gonna be the best thing I created thus far. It's very important to me. I think you will enjoy it, even if webcomics aren't really your thing, even if maybe fantasy isn't your thing. Hey, it's worth giving it a try, and if it's not your thing, that's okay too. You can always stop reading, but give it a try for me, okay? Please? That was fucking stupid. Professional mode now. If you're wanting to get updates on when the comic releases and maybe see some development sneak peeks, such as concept art, check out my social media accounts, including a Blue Sky and Tumblr page I've created specifically for the comic. Also, if you want to follow my art-only accounts or my main accounts too, I wouldn't object. There's a lot of art you won't see if you're only subscribed to my YouTube and don't check out my other socials. On the Tumblr and Blue Sky art-only pages I have for myself, it has most of my public art, including art I never have posted since like Miiverse. So yeah, check it out. And of course, those social media pages aside, when the comic launches, I will make a follow-up video here on YouTube. And hey, you might even expect some more videos about the comic down the line. If you're curious on how far along the comic is, currently most of the comic's ideas are finalized. Almost all the character designs have been finalized, I have a written draft of the entire story done, and I've settled on an art direction for the comic. There's other little things outside of that are complete as well. Like I said, I plan on releasing the comics sometime this year, but that date isn't set in stone just in case things take longer than expected or life happens. I am hard at work working on it every week though, so look forward to that. I've poured so much time into this and very excited for when it's out. There you have it. Oh my god, this is such a huge fucking weight off my chest. I have had to keep this project a secret for over 10 years, and it feels so good to finally be able to talk about it. It's so weird and wild finally sitting down and recording this when I've thought about making this video for years. Oh my god, but it's finally happened! Woohoo! Yippee! And the best part is, I only shared a tiny fraction of the world, characters, and story in this video. Ooh, there's just so much you guys don't even know. Thank you for hearing me ramble on about my blorbos. I am so excited for this project. It really is an extremely personal passion project, and I'm hyped to do something really original with my art. Please look forward to it. I hope to see you all return when the comic is out. I am so passionate about this, and I really do think it will be my best work so far when it's out. I typically don't ask this, but I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video and shared it around if you can. This project means the world for me. I think I've said that 100 times in this video, and I'd really appreciate it if more people read it when it's out. And yes, I know it's annoying when YouTubers ask, but it really does help boost this video to the algorithm when you like and share a comic and whatnot. And hey, if you're new here and like what you've seen in this video, why not subscribe so you know when the comic releases? Plus, I've got other videos to watch too, like art videos, gaming stuff, video essays, and more. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm the Otaku Artist, and I'll see you next time. Bye!